So, I'm pretty sure you heard about this brand new handtrap that you can't negate. While most of the player base may think that this card seems to be absolutely devastating against combo decks and most of the rogue players, me and Hequi will discuss why, in terms of application, it will not really change a lot the current game state. If not at all. So firstly, let's go with the bad applications. The summoning condition of this card is only possible if your opponent summon a monster that has more than 2000 attack. So that means that for every monster that have less than 2000 attack, it will not be possible to activate his effect at all. And currently, most of the combo enablers have less than 2000 attack. For example, Needle Fiber, Linkross, Sherbini, Union Carrier, Isolde, Verte Anaconda, Gunner Rose Maiden, LP, and so on. If you think about it, specifically for my channel, it is still completely possible to FTK through that restriction without your opponent being able to activate it at all. Now, for the monster that has more than 2000 attack, it will still not being useful against all monsters that have an effect that triggers on summon, like for example the Code Breakers.
An interesting fact about Miradora is that it doesn't negate the effect, but it only prevents the activation. So therefore, passive effects are still active. An example would be Winda, or if you're feeling it, let's say Lost Warrior from another planet. So even though it can get rid of the threat that is a negate from, let's say, Totally Awesome, it doesn't prevent him to float. In the case of Black Garden, the token summoned from said card can prevent your opponent from summoning it. So if you have a monster with 2000 attack or more in your combo, you will most likely try to fill your opponent's field with tokens before summoning the monster. If your opponent summons a Dragoon, you will not be able to use it against him, because Miradora does in fact target, and Dragoon cannot be targeted, which makes Miradora quite pointless in this precise scenario. And we have a very unique case with Tricking of All Calamities. Let me explain. When you summon Tricking of All Calamities, your opponent will be able to activate Miradora from his hand, and at this exact moment you will be able to chain Tricking of All Calamities effect. Miradora is gonna special summon itself. Miradora effect cannot be negated, sure, but Tricking of All Calamities doesn't really negate Miradora's effect. It prevents them from activating. Tricking of All Calamities is technically immune to Miradora. And lastly, let's not forget that Miradora's pretty bad stats cannot run over most cards that Miradora stand.
Now, let's go for the good application, because there are still some. Firstly, it can stop combo enablers like Radon, even if you still have the tokens. Rusty Boardish, because it's not a trigger on summon, but the problem is that most of the similar combo enablers are already banned, like Firewall or Summon Sorcerers. It can also stop endboard elements that have either player turn negate or disruption, like Mekaba or Borer Savage, for example.
The effect stays as long as the card is on the field, so against a Dino player, if he uses Michelinosaurus, you can still use it on an Evolzor to prevent his negate during your turn. And as I was talking earlier, Miradora puts a relatively big but still bit too small body on the field. Bit too small because it cannot run over most boss monsters. It is a bit like a Pancratops. While the effect seems way more powerful, it is way less versatile.
So this card make us think that the enabler with a very low attack like Needle Fiber or Linkross, or everything used in Dragon Link for example, will maybe have more chances to be hit in the next ban list. And it also make us think that there will probably release more and more enabler and endboard elements that has a high attack and that doesn't trigger on summon, which leads us to the fact that they will most likely never hit Radon or Rusty Boardish.
This card reminds me of 3 tactical talents. It looks strong, it seems strong, it is apparently strong, but on paper, it in fact is very situational. It is going eventually to result in a very few amounts of people actually using it in competitive play. So therefore, we can actually question the fact that will it be a great investment or will it not be a great one, because this card is most likely going to be a super expensive card. Isn't it weird that Konami wants to hit directly a new cards such as Overradon, Rusty Bardish. Why is it weird? It's weird because those cards, they do not give Konami much sales. They do not make people buy boxes. They do not do that. Unlike cards like Alkifibrak, Linkross, or every card that Decathlon mentioned. And those cards are the expensive ones.
So, at the end, this card in particular isn't really incredible, but it is still pretty scary to imagine that in the near future there will maybe release some handtraps that are spell speeds 4, because this card is not a spell speed 4 yet. Even if you can't negate the effect, you can still chain something to it. But I feel like even if this card isn't really that great, we were really close of getting something that will change the game forever. So, thank you so much for watching, guys. Hequi, do you have something to say before the end?
So if you guys want to follow me, you can subscribe to my current YouTube channel. Even though I am soon going to change channels and move to other projects, I will announce it there really soon, so stay tuned.
Anyway, again, thank you for watching and I hope to catch you in my next video. Bye!